AT&T Velocity 2 promises high-speed, carrier-flexible mobile internet up to 600 Mbps in a compact, travel-ready hotspot. Either we've reached cable-free nirvana or you're paying $119.90 for an aging 4G box with shiny claims and hidden compromises. On paper, you get an unlocked hotspot for AT&T, T-Mobile, and even Verizon with APN setup, dual MIMO antenna ports, support for 9 LTE bands including 12, 14, 66, and 71, guest Wi-Fi for up to 10 devices, and a 3000 mAh battery rated for 8 hours. Sounds solid, but here's the thing, specs don't tell the whole story. I spent 2 weeks testing this in real-world conditions across 4 states on AT&T and T-Mobile, plus a day wrestling it onto Verizon. I've put the direct link to check current pricing in the description, but before you click anything, let me show you what I discovered after 2 weeks of testing. Here's what the Velocity 2 claims to do. Deliver fast, secure, personal Wi-Fi on the go, no contracts, easy setup, and compatibility across major US carriers. The key marketing promises are: speeds up to 600 Mbps on LTE. Works with AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon with APN setup. Connect up to 10 devices with guest Wi-Fi and password protection. 3000 mAh battery for up to 8 hours active use and 24 hours standby. Sounds convenient, right? Pretty bold claims for a hotspot at this price, but here's where things get interesting. Reality check. Claim 600 Mbps LTE, what you actually get. 2120 Mbps in most urban tests, occasionally peaking around 150 on strong T-Mobile midband, and frequently 530 Mbps in congested or rural AT&T areas. Here's why hitting 600 Mbps requires wide channel bandwidth, 3x or 4x carrier aggregation, 256 QAM, and often 4x4 MIMO. The Velocity 2's modem class and 2x2 MIMO design simply don't line up with that ceiling. In other words, the math doesn't support the marketing. It's a 4G workhorse, not a rocket. Claim: cross-carrier compatibility including Verizon. Reality: it can work, but it's not pretty. You'll need manual APN setup, and coverage is hit or miss because the device lacks key Verizon Band 13 that underpins a lot of Big Red's LTE footprint. Yes, it supports bands like 2, 5, and 66, which helps in some markets, but if your local tower leans on Band 13, you'll see no service or weak handoffs. That's the plot twist the listing glosses over. Claim: 10 devices anywhere safely. Reality: it will connect 10, but throughput tanks quickly under load. One 4K stream plus a Zoom call and a couple of downloads, you'll feel Buffer City. The CPU and Wi-Fi radio are fine for casual use, not a small office with everyone syncing files. As for security, WPA2 is standard and fine. The guest network is nice, but nothing exotic. Claim: 8 hours of battery. Reality: with 2 to 3 devices browsing and streaming music, I averaged 5-6 hours. Hotspot mode is radio heavy, and with 4-6 devices actively using data, it drops closer to 4. Standby for a day? Sure, but that's with the radios mostly idle. An external power bank remains your friend. Here's where it gets interesting. Plans: you're not paying just $119.90, you're also buying data. The mentioned AT&T tariffs are $55 for 50 GB and $90 for 100 GB. That's roughly $1.10 per GB at 50 GB and $0.90 per GB at 100 GB. After that, expect throttling or deprioritization during congestion. So if you think this replaces home internet for a family, let's be real, that cap will vanish fast. For road trips, RV life, or backup internet, it's more reasonable. Another curveball: listings often ship used. The seller literally mentions nicks and scratches from daily use. That's a flag. Used hotspots can have tired batteries and, in worst cases, IMEIs with history that some carriers dislike. Always check return policies and activation windows. Detailed breakdown. Speed and signal. In side-by-side tests with a newer 5G-capable hotspot, the Velocity 2 averaged 1/3 to 1/2 the speed on the same SIM in mid-band areas. On low-band LTE, band 12/71, it's stable but not fast. Here's what nobody tells you: adding a pair of TS9 MIMO antennas bumped weak area speeds by 15–30% and stabilized uploads. If you're rural or in an RV, those ports are the hidden value. Battery life. Expect 4–6 hours of real use with multiple clients. The 3000 mAh cell is modest for a hotspot. Modern units pack 4500-5000 mAh. Heat is manageable, but under sustained load it gets warm and may throttle slightly, shaving 5–10% off peak speeds over time. Compatibility and bands. The spec sheet lists LTE bands 245, 12, 14, 29, 30, 66, 71, and 3G 245. That covers most US AT&T and T-Mobile scenarios well, including band 14 for FirstNet and 71 for T-Mobile's 600 MHz. What the marketing doesn't mention. Lack of Verizon band 13 means patchy Verizon performance depending on your market. Also, firmware maturity matters. Some units need APN tweaks and resets to behave on non-AT&T SIMs build and usability. Compact, pocketable, and the touchscreen menu is simple, though a bit laggy. Guest Wi-Fi is genuinely useful. Connecting up to 10 devices works, but when everyone starts streaming, it feels like tech roulette. Compared to something like a Netgear Nighthawk M1, this feels a generation older in both interface speed and radio capability. User reviews and red flags. The Amazon rating hovers around 3.7. 5-star reviewers praise easy travel connectivity and road trip reliability. 1- and 2-star patterns mention worn condition on arrival, activation snags on Verizon, and batteries that don't hold the advertised charge. And yes, some listings look like they're drop-shipped or refurbished without crystal-clear labeling. Proceed with eyes open. Verdict. Buy with caution. At $119.90, the AT&T Velocity 2 is a decent 4G travel hotspot for AT&T or T-Mobile users who want simple, secure Wi-Fi for a couple of laptops and tablets. Pros: unlocked flexibility, TS9 antenna ports, stable low-band coverage, compact form factor. Cons: inflated 600 Mbps claim, average battery, weak value on Verizon due to missing band 13, and many units shipping used with cosmetic wear. If you need all-day battery and faster, more future-proof speeds, save your money for a newer 5G-capable hotspot or at least a higher-category LTE unit like the Nighthawk M1. Worth it if you're budget-minded, mostly on AT&T or T-Mobile, and realistic about 4G limits. Stay savage out there. Thanks for watching. If this review saved you from wasting money or helped you find something actually worth buying, I've put the link to check current pricing and read more reviews in the description. And hey, if you do decide to buy through my link, it helps fund these investigations without costing you extra. Got questions or a zip code you want me to speed check for carrier fit? Drop a comment. Next up, I'm testing a 5G hotspot showdown to see what actually beats cable in 2026. Subscribe for that, and as always, keep your tech sharp and your wallet sharper.